what's up? I'm a little bit late, but fortunately the baby's not crying anymore because I am a problem solver. I have fixed the issue. Apparently, it just wanted to play. Like, it reaches the age where it's not like he's not just crying because he's hungry. He's not just crying because he needs a diaper change. He's just crying because he wants attention. Horrible. And I'm not the type of parent that doesn't just want to turn on the TV and it's like, there you go. There's your attention. Like, look at the people from the screen. No, I actually want to do proper parenting, so I had to be a little bit late for the stream. But anyway, the title of the stream, Ubisoft. You don't need to say much. You just say Ubisoft and already people are thinking, this is the company that threatens to call the cops on its customers. I'm not exactly sure that there are many other companies that had this idea, but they're also proud of it. Like, they're proud of their snitching. It's not like even they're like, oh, well, I guess we have to do it. No. Like, this was a selling point for them. They thought that this is how they can advertise and get people to purchase their products so that they, too, can risk having the cops called on them. And it's like, okay, well, what the fuck can a gaming company call people on, right? Because it's like, you're playing Call of Duty. It's not like not Call of Duty. You're playing Assassin's Creed. It's not like you can share illicit videos of underage children while playing. You know, like, you don't have the system. So, like, what exactly can you do that would get the cops up your ass? And the answer is the speech of hate. So, yeah, no, like, seriously, the BBC and The Guardian wrote an article that if you play video games from Ubisoft, they actually work with the British police. And they were very proud of the fact that even if you're not from the UK, but you happen to be in another country that also has laws against the speech of hate, then the British police can contact the authorities from your country to get you behind bars because you are a citizen that provides ample amount of danger with your speech of hate. Hi V, hope all is well. Your day is going good. Yes. Haven't been reported to the authorities by Ubisoft so far. But yeah, no, like that was my initial contact with Ubisoft, you know, because up until that point I thought they're a gaming company, but no, apparently they do activism. And it's like, look, great, you can do activism, just not with my money. And when you think about Ubisoft, they used to have great games. There was an Anno game that I really liked. It was focusing on a crusade. All the Anno games that came after that were utter shite. At this point, every gaming company in the West works with the cops. Yes, no, at this point, I genuinely believe that when you're on the internet, you're in the Soviet Union. Like, this is how you need to behave. And this is something that a lot of parents need to educate their kids. Because I'm thinking, like, you know, I grew up with this. And the censorship and the restrictions were implemented gradually. So you kind of got an idea of what you are and aren't allowed to do. But it's getting to the point where if your kid, let's say he's 16, and he goes up to Susie and calls her a slut. Beyond the pale, I know. But if he does that in real life, the consequences would be minimal. But if he does that online, if you're in Britain, holy shit. No, seriously, think about this, right? Like, think about when you were a kid and you were a cheeky little shit online and you were doing the speech of hate and the speech of sexismus and all the other shit that people used to do when we grew up. And the worst that could happen is that you would get banned from a channel, you would get banned from a forum. Like, that was the extent of the issue that could happen to you. Nowadays, the cops can come in. Like, in Britain, there has been cases where a girl was arrested over a rap limerick. You have people arrested over emojis. And on top of that, the social media companies are constantly sharing information with the government, and they're proud of it. And I don't even know if they need a warrant for it. Like from my understanding, this is what the Twitter files revealed. A lot of Western countries can just ask for information off social media. So basically, Germany right now is asking for a person that was on Gab, and he called a politician from the Greens fat. Now, I actually did see a picture of the lady, and honestly, like, she is the very definition. She's the like, I don't know how else you can say it, but, like, there is no description besides the term. I'm sorry. But still, apparently the German equivalent of the FBI contacted Gab, and they wanted to know the information of the person that did the speech of hate. Where, here's the thing. Normally, they need to come up with a warrant, right? So, like, basically, they will say, we got a judge that believes this person is committing crimes, so, like, we need you to give us this information. And usually they should be, like, very specific. It's like, this is the date within which we believe that crimes were committed. That this is the information that we want, right? So it's, like, very specific to the crime that's being accused. But what usually happens is they would go to someone like Meta or someone like Google, and they will just be asking in an unofficial capacity. I mean, you know that they're from the FBI, it's just they don't have a warrant. And they're like, oh, sure, like, here's all the information about this person. This is starting to, I think, become the norm. Which is kind of interesting, because before we grew up, there were laws against wiretapping, and there were laws guaranteeing citizens' privacy. Like, here's an example. Like, just yesterday, this was passed, and, you know, I would support it, but with a caveat. So apparently the European Union wants chat control. They propose a system that would ban encrypted messenger services from companies like Telegram. So basically, like, if you have like a cord attached to two plastic bottles and you're using them in order to communicate, yeah, the EU doesn't like that because it's not monitored. Now here's the thing. So, according to this chat control, the EU law proposes that could ban encrypted messenger services in the EU. That could return this month, and according to the latest proposal, providers would be free whether or not to use AI to classify unknown images and text chat as suspicious, blah, blah, blah. Of course, it's done to protect the children. Right, here's my take. If you want to protect the children, absolutely, by all means, you know, pass this legislation. But I also want that every single politician, every single EU bureaucrat would also have every single message that they ever send in private or in public to be available for the people to read. I mean, they have nothing to hide, right? So why would they fear? Every single thing that an EU member, that the moment they get voted in, everything on the internet, everything that they say, everything that they post, whether it's their official account or their unofficial account, should be disclosed for the public. Everything. Absolutely everything. Like full 100% transparency, right? Because I am concerned. I am concerned that they may also be committing crime. And the thing is, like, if a normal person is committing crime, I mean, they're not the EU MP, right? So their damage is not as high. It's a little bit more minimized if an average citizen is committing a crime. So if we're going to put this level of scrutiny on the average citizen, why can we not put the same level of scrutiny on the people that are our civil servants, that we pay with our taxpayer money, that should be our little bitches? So yeah, I fully support this law, with the caveat that also every single politician, EU bureaucrat, and their next of kin should also subject themselves to the same standards. And they'll be like, well, it's unfair. No, it's not. Like, I mean, you want to be an EU MP, right? like you're not, it's not thrusted upon you. If you have stuff to hide, then don't become an EU MP. I am so sick and tired of this argument. It's like, if you got nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. Like, perfect. You know, I am willing to subject myself to this. I genuinely do not have nothing to hide. So fine, pass this legislation. But I will also want to see if you have nothing to hide as well. You being the politician. Exactly, it's like, who watches the watchers, right? So I think the people should watch the watchers. I don't see why politicians should have anything to hide. There should be like complete transparency. Everything that they do, there should be 100% transparency online. If they want privacy, they can use the mail. Honestly, there should be a law or a rule. Politicians should have no rights to privacy of communication. I generally don't see the downsides of it, to be honest. Because I generally thought a lot about this concept before I shot it out. And I'm like, what is the downside? Like if you want to be a politician, you get so many privileges and you get so many perks. And in exchange, you would lose internet privacy. Okay. I mean, sure, you know, like for a lot of people, it would be difficult to live that way. But you're the one that chooses to be a politician. It's the only downside. And if you can't take it, don't run for office again. You know, you can step down, you can resign. But yeah, like literally everything you say should be just public record. There should be a website, you go in, you click the politician you want, and you get to see all the communications that they had. Unless if it's a state secret. If it's a state secret, then fine. You know, but if it's a state secret, they probably don't talk about it on social media. So if it's a state secret, they probably talk about it in person. At the end of the day, the damage wouldn't be even that big because there's so many politicians, like no one is actually going to start searching everything they say. But why shouldn't they get the same treatment that we do? All public bureaucrats, not just politicians. Yes, I did say that. And their next of kin as well. Their family members should also have nothing to hide. Especially because, like, yeah, if you live in the same house with your wife, like, what's to stop them from using their wife's accounts? No. Like, all their next of kin as well. Daddy becomes a politician. All of your furry porn gets on the internet. All of your browsing activity, all of your messaging history, your Discord, your username, everything that the cops have access to, the private citizens should have access to as well. Being a politician and not disclosing all messages should be like making videos for OnlyFans and never getting... Yeah, no, it's a thing. Now back to Ubisoft, right. I got a video that was called The Pussification of Games. Like, such an amazing title. And I'm like, what on earth is this person going to talk about? The Pussification of Games. And they're basically taking video games from the golden era. Like, when video games weren't just popular, but they were like worldwide phenomenons. You know, like World of Warcraft, Warcraft 3, that type of game. And he's looking at the box, and he's comparing video games from today. And today, video games are all about femininity. It's literally all about feelings, all about, like, how do we feel about this? What is it thinking? You know, let's have friendship, compassion, petting the doggy. Yes, like, Call of Duty is now having a dog. You can pet it. Isn't that wonderful? You can pet the doggy. And then you look at the old games. And the old games were like, war is upon us. Men in the shadows. You know, darkness, mystery, great evil. How will you survive? You know, like that's the shit. And the idea is that modern writers, they view stoicism as the plague. Like any type of concept that has to do with stoicism, they're disgusted by it. Now, the thing is, it's not wrong to make a feminine game. As in, like, a game that's appealing to women. But if you take a game that's already supposed to appeal to men and you try to make it to appeal to women, it's like taking 50 Shades of Grey and trying to make it to appeal to lesbians. Like, there's nothing you can do. Now, you can probably take 50 Shades of Grey and change it to the level where some lesbians may like it, but you're going to alienate all of the core audience. Because the core audience isn't there for the lesbian. Right? So, like, if you change something so dramatically, you would be more well off just starting a new IP. Like, you start a new IP, and you're thinking about lesbians and what they want to see, and you create something for them, And you would be much more successful than if you take something that's already having a core demographic and you're trying to change it to appeal to someone that wasn't interested in it to begin with. Good example, in God of War Ragnarok, he is nothing like in God of War 3. Yeah, even the creator of God of War, which is pretty fucking woke, even he didn't like it. I gotta say, like God of War 4 isn't really that bad, because if you have someone like Kratos that lives forever and eventually he makes a new family, I can see him as a father figure. Like, even in God of War 3, the only person that could mellow his heart and make him be less retarded was his daughter. So, like, Kratos was less of an asshole whenever his daughter was around. Now, in God of War 4 is the hero's journey and he is the father and blah, blah, blah. In God of War 5, I do think that they went even further away from what the original Kratos is. Now, their argument, and I understand the argument, is that, well, characters should grow, right? That is the argument that they're having. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think characters should grow. I don't want to see Batman growing. I don't want to see Superman growing, because they're fictional. They're not human beings. Like, they were, the writers were treating this, it's like there's something wrong with you if you don't want characters to grow. And I'm like, no, hold on a little bit. I enjoy the stories of my childhood, and I want the next generation to enjoy them as well. And if the characters are growing, then every single character that's supposed to be an anti-hero or a villain or something like that would eventually become mellowed and old. And it's like, what is my son going to play? Is he going to play just like Max Hagging and Max old farting, the video games where everyone is old and everyone is, you know, no. So the idea of Kratos, who's this unbelievable asshole, made him unique. Like, people like the game simply because Kratos was a fucking asshole. No one sympathized with Kratos. Like, no one wanted to be Kratos or thought that he's a hero in any way, shape, or form. But it's kind of like playing with Arthas in Warcraft 3, and you know that he's doing bad things and you absolutely hate the character, but, like, that is a thing in playing the villain. Like, that is something about you hating the character that you play rather than the game trying to make you to identify as the character that you play. Yeah, remember the good orcs in Rings of Power plus Privilege. I actually made a video about it. I'll upload it after this live stream. Which do you think more often, lesbian or the Roman Empire? Why do they have to be mutually exclusive? Max Hagging, I don't know. It can be pretty spicy if not right. In Woke Tetris, the blocks don't disappear. They just mix with and become gray glop. Well, here's the thing, right? If you actually play old games, you realize that the reason Wukong is so popular is because it's masculine. And it's not being ashamed of it, right? Like this is the thing. These developers have convinced themselves that the straight cisgender white man is evil, and anything that serves the straight cisgender white man is evil by default. So they're going out of their way in order to make video games that would not cater to the straight cisgender white man. And let me show you like a couple of things. Like here's the thumbnail that I chose for this particular video. And this thumbnail tells you literally everything there is to know about it, right? So, you got Ubisoft promoting equality. They're not promoting freedom of expression. They're not promoting artistic endeavor and freedom of speech. No, they're promoting equality. Now, the thing that really blew my mind is that despite the fact that we play a lot of games from Asia now, like we play South Korean games, we play Chinese games, and we play Japanese games, simply by playing these games, I generally do not know what cultural issues these countries are having. I have no fucking idea. Now, of course, you know, I can actually talk with Japanese people and find out, or I can read the news, but like simply just by playing the game, I have no fucking idea what cultural issues Japan is having right now. What are they struggling with? What are their ambitions? Like, what is considered progressive in Japan? I don't fucking know. But the moment you touch an American game, capitalism, evil, the wall, racism, sexism, misogyny. Literally, like everywhere, you cannot touch an American product without having a flag stuffed down your throat. And like that's the difference, because the Asian market is focusing on entertainment. Like, how can we entertain people so we take away their money? The Western this is the product. This is the product from Ubisoft. It's not video games, it's this. Like, right here, this is what they're selling. This is why, when they sell a game, if they have like 10 woke people bitching on Twitter, they will immediately change even the core engine if possible, just to appease it. Because, like, this is the product. And they're saying, well, hold on, your wokeness is affected. It's not a good product. Meanwhile, if you can have millions of people telling them, dude, your character design is utter shit, what are you doing? They're like, oh, fuck these noise. Like, what does this have to do with games? Well, what exactly that? And the answer is because they leech off government cash, number one. So, like, they don't actually have to be into social justice. They just have to pretend, basically, right? Which is absolutely mind-blowing, because it shows just how retarded certain people are if they believe that a multinational for-profit corporation gives a single fuck about social justice. Like, they throw away some anti-capitalist messages, and they're like, oh yes, this multi-billion-dollar for-profit multinational entity is really against capitalism. They really are on my side. Who made that cringe video game? I think it was Ubisoft, the one with Brexit, where you're in the UK and UK is taken over by fascismus. And you have like an old lady with a cane and she's fighting the fascismus. Yeah, just like so out of touch, man. Just so fucking out of touch. And they're wondering, like, why is no one buying it? Chit Chat Cat, thank you for the 35 Zarians. Kratos became an asshole. He had to kill his mother, spending eternity with his daughter, Chains of Olympus, gods imprisoning his brother. I'm not saying that Kratos doesn't have justifications for being an asshole, but, like, in the very beginning of the game, you kill a Hydra, and then the captain of the ship managed to survive by clinging to the Hydra's tongue. Like, the Hydra swallowed the captain, but, like, the captain clinged to its tongue to survive. Kratos lifts him up and then drops him in the carcass of the Hydra. And then there's another one where you go into Poseidon's home, and you find that he had a sex slave. Yes, like, games actually used to have these themes back in the day. I know, shocking, right? Oh my fucking god, but it's fiction. And the purpose was for you to empathize with that girl, which was very beautiful, and she wanted to escape because she didn't want the situation that she's in, right? So what does Kratos do? Like, he finds a lever that required the strength of 10 men to be pushed upwards, and he puts the girl under the lever, getting crushed just so he can open a door. Like, he is insanely petty. And while him being an asshole does have, like, some sort of justification from the lore, him taking it out on women and innocent people is not justifiable. He is a monster. The developers make it absolutely clear that you're supposed to hate that character. You're not supposed to empathize with the character. You're not supposed to be himself. The only thing is that through the middle of the story, you're like, okay, he went through some nasty shit. But again, like, that doesn't justify his behavior towards others. Like, I would understand his behavior towards his enemies. I would understand his behavior towards the gods. But his behavior towards, like, random innocent people, like, again, you have a victim of sex slavery that you find in the game, and Kratos brutally murders her for the most petty reasons imaginable, just to hold the door open so he can pass to the next level. Yeah, he's a piece of shit. There is absolutely nothing that he can ever do in order for me to change my mind. Oh, well, actually, no. Even fucking Homelander, I would say, is more of a redeemable character than Kratos. I thought that 50 Shades of Grey made being a sex slave woke. Hey, here's the thing, alright? People need to start disconnecting sexual fantasies from the actual thing. Like, for instance, there have been studies that show a lot of women enjoy watching, well, I don't even know if they can anymore because they banned it in a lot of countries, but they used to enjoy watching. It's like, what type of porn do women like was the question, right? And a lot of women enjoyed watching porn that had implications of rape. So it's not an actual rape, but there's actors and they're pretending as if, right? And this seemed to attract a lot of women. Now, do women actually want that to happen to them in real life? And the answer is a flat out no. They do not want it, but like their fantasy is different, right? Like just because someone likes tentacles and shit, they don't like actual real life tentacles to spawn from the ether, right? Like, does that make sense? I actually knew a lot of furries that would like gay, furry stuff, but in real life, they would never touch another man. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not a psychologist, but basically, the idea is that, like, what people do in fiction, it's usually fictional. If you like to be a gangster in GTA and you like shooting people, committing crimes, and getting gold stars, that doesn't mean that you probably enjoy doing the same in real life. Is there an overlap? Probably. Like, are there people that are deranged and they're playing GTA and then they're actually doing crimes in real life? There have been cases. Like, there were a case where, I remember, it was on Fox News, this guy got a shotgun and started shooting at cars. And then when he got arrested and he told the police, well, he saw it in a video game and he wanted to do it in real life. And I was like, okay, fine, like, there are mentally unhinged weirdos. But, you know, like, overall, I wouldn't say that if a woman, for instance, likes watching Game of Thrones and she likes the scene where Khal Drogo forces himself on Daenerys and she finds that hot, I don't think that she would want that to her. I don't think that if someone likes 50 Shades of Grey, they would necessarily like to be in the position of the female character. Like, here's the interesting part. I actually got a translator for my game. And what he does is he translates a lot of manga and he translates a lot of erotica stuff for women. He really hates his job, hates everything that he does, wants to get out of the industry, but he does have a lot of experience in female erotica. And apparently, every single, like, major female erotica is like this. There is this guy, which is very beautiful, very charismatic, incredibly powerful and wealthy. And he forces himself upon the protagonist. And the protagonist is usually this woman that's kind of plain looking. Like, there's nothing sticking out, there's nothing standing out. Like, she's just like a vessel willing to be filled by the reader. And the main character forces himself like Khal Drogo on Daenerys, or like 50 Shades, you know, or kind of like the Beauty and the Beast, you know, locks her in the castle, or like something that is usually like pays off a debt and constrains her to just have relationships. It's like, okay, that happens, but like she doesn't report it to the cops because he's hot, and the relationship continues. And at one point, drama happens. Whether an ex-wife enters the scene, someone that he knew from childhood, you know, like an ex-girlfriend or something, enters the scene. And they're having this love triangle, and then again, drama happens, and she decides to leave. She takes a plane, goes to another country, and he realizes what he lost. So he goes after her, flies all the way where she is, and they meet and they marry and they live happily ever after. And I forgot to mention, after she goes to another country, usually she has a lot of promiscuous sex in the other place. And she also meets another guy, usually like an ex-boyfriend or someone that she used to like. And he's like a really nice guy. He's like a very nice gentleman. And he actually has feelings for her. But when the Chad comes, she dumps him. And he's completely understanding the situation. He's like, oh, well, you know, I respect you, queen. And this is like the skeleton for almost every single female romantica. Like, if you take what I said and you write it and you add your own characters and you put a little spin here and there, as long as you're good with words, you're going to have a bestseller. Like, this is astonishing. Like, when I heard about it, I was like, what the fuck? Is this a thing? Like, is this real? And apparently, yes, it is. Are you trying to be playing D&D or any other tabletop soon? I always like your characters in those. If someone invites me, I may, but so far I don't think there's any arrangements made. Romance novels are a lot of experienced men with a young, innocent girl. Yeah, it's the Khal Drogo shit. Like, honestly, it is like such a trope. Like, Game of Thrones has a lot of these tropes. But when you realize that, well, actually 50 Shades is the same, and Twilight is the same, and True Blood is the same, and it's like almost every single thing that women really like. I don't know about Grey's Anatomy, I haven't seen that. But I wouldn't be surprised if that has a similar trope. Women prefer vampires, werewolves, pirates, billionaires, and surgeons. They prefer a dangerous individual, right? Like the vampire is dangerous. He sucks the blood, like he kills people, but he doesn't kill her, and the idea is that she can change him. But then again, what the fuck am I complaining when I talk about succubies and stuff, you know? Like, I do get the appeal somewhat. It's like, it's a very dangerous... But again, like, even I with my succubies, right? Like it's just fantasy. If they were in real life, I would be horrified. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, that would be awful. So no, like, the idea that people like 50 Shades of Grey and therefore they would act it out in real life, I don't think is the case. I generally don't. I think that most people have a room for fantasy and a room for pragmatic reality. Of course, there are people who don't, and there's an overlap, but at least from my personal experience, I would say that most are able to differentiate. My girlfriend likes Interview with the Vampire a lot. That is the gayest thing I've ever seen. I don't know, like, when vampires became romantic creatures. Like, the original was Dracula, and actually, I think, like, the original Dracula was kind of romantic, right? Because, like, he tries to seduce the woman, and I think, like, he was also successful. And he had brides, so yeah, no, maybe, yeah, like, vampires are actually seductive for women. No, I don't believe succubies are real, no. Yeah, I guess, like, monster girls would be a similar thing for men, right? Like, you have a girl that's monstrous, and someone asked me, it's like, why do men like monster girls? And I was like, well, because unlike real women, the monster is only on the outside. Chat. A monster girl wouldn't have an abortion. I'm just saying. Look, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like, I haven't heard a single story where a monster girl had an abortion. Like, maybe it's true. Maybe it exists, but yeah. I love the kind of girl that would just straight off kill me. Do you know that there is actually a thing, like a lot of Americans used to laugh at women that would send serial killers love letters, and I do find that deranged as well. But it's even worse than that. Like, apparently in America they have like museums dedicated to serial killers, right? So like they will have the picture of the guy, a news article of what he did, and then maybe like some items that belong to him and shit like that, and people go into the museum so that they can see it. Apparently, like, those places are quite frequented by women, and they buy merchandise and they take pictures of shit. It's like really creepy. But here's the thing. Whenever I see a female serial killer, especially one that's hot, like there was one that I think like she was a Satanist in Germany or something, and you look at the comment section and it's filled, just filled to the brim with thirsty men. So it's not like it's not like it's a woman thing, is what I'm trying to say. Like I see men doing the exact same thing when they see let me see if I can find the picture of her. Because when I saw the picture, I really understood the sentiment. I was like, chat, I can change her. I can fix her. Oh, I think I found it. Hold on. So German serial killer Sarah M, who would lure victims to their death with the promise of sexo. And I'm like, chat. This was before I got married, by the way. I was like, chat. I can fix her. I can fix her, chat. I can make her back. I can make her normal again. I can. I just need a couple of sessions. I just need to have a one-on-one conversation, and I can fix her. But yeah, no, like, my point is that, we just don't have female serial killers to see how men would act, but when I saw this on Twitter, I went into the comments section, and, like, the level of men that were just thirsty for her was astonishing. And it's like, okay, well, I can't criticize women anymore. I can't criticize women for something that men do as well. This sounds like the movie Queen of the Damned, where the roles are reversed. The woman is the queen of the vampires. There was a vampire that was hit. Sorry. There are actually, no. Hold on. There's two vampires that are very popular with the guys. One of them is from Vampire the Masquerade, the one with multiple personality disorder, the goth one. All right. So you go into this nightclub with vampires, and you got these two sisters that are running the place, and one is a goth girl, and the other one is like a more businesswoman that's down to earth. And you get to see, like, the painting with their father and the two sisters. And then you find out that they're actually one and the same. It's just like she's got, like, this double personality where she thinks she's two people. And I think, like, her sister passed away. It was, like, a really nice reveal. But basically, like, yeah, she's considered to be one of the most coveted female vampires. The other one being Blood Rain. I was never attracted to vampires simply because the idea that their skin is cold, right? Because they're undead. It's like, no. But yeah, basically, like, this is how it would look. And it's also, like, something that modern developers nowadays would never do something. I think they would consider this game to be pornography. If characters were drawn like this in a modern video game, yeah, they would actually consider it to be pornography. And it's like, this was the standard back in the day. Like, this was the normal. This was tame, actually. Like, and most people were like, well, yeah, she's a video game character. Of course she's going to look like this. And all the men were also buffed, and all the men were also good looking, because, you know, they wanted to sell a product. Werewolves are sexier? I guess it depends on the stylization, right? The ones from World of Warcraft are meh. I don't like them. I'm actually trying to think of a sexy werewolf, if I can think of, but, like, there haven't been that many, have there? Like usually, I think in ReZero they had, like, a female character that turned monstrous. And, like, before she becomes, like, full monster, she's got, like, really big titties and shit. And, like, maybe that's something that's attractive. No one mentions Vampirella. Yeah, she was before my time, man. I'm pretty sure they managed to desexualize her. Like, they had a lot of time and opportunity. The Howling. Anyone remember that episode with Johnny Bravo where he went on a date with a werewolf? Yeah. V, don't be a furry. I have enough with Arch. Is Arch a furry now? I'm not a furry, to be honest, but I can, like, understand why someone would look at a fictional character and say, yeah, that they find it appealing, like Monster Girls and stuff. Like, I mean, I definitely get it. But even those people that do, I don't think, like, if they actually saw a Spider Girl in real life or Medusa, like, I don't necessarily think they would fall for her. Arch has gone full brony. Wasn't it like a April Fool's thing where he actually reviewed the lore in My Little Pony. I prefer a giantess. Man, like, I will tell you this, okay? Speaking of fantasies that do not materialize well in real life, I too, when I was younger, had a fetish for tall women. Like, I really enjoyed the idea of being with a tall girl. Because, like, for some fucking reason, I always had girlfriends that were, well, you know, like, women are shorter than men. But the ones I dated were from my class, and they usually, like, their head would reach my chest. You know, like, they were usually, like, smaller than me. And it was very annoying because they constantly, it's like, oh, can you reach that? Can you give that for me? Can you just, like, I was like, well, can't you do it? No, I'm tiny. I'm like, oh, good God. But anyway, right. So, I always wanted to date a tall girl. You know, like a girl that's taller than me. And eventually I did manage to. I found this girl. She was playing Mortal Kombat. Like, that was surprising, like a woman playing fighting game. And she was also hot. She wasn't, like, tall. It was kind of weird, because, like, the reason she was tall was that she had, like, the longest legs imaginable. Like, the rest of her body was normally proportioned, but, like, the legs were just, like, out of this world. So anyway, I'm walking on the street with her, and I'm holding hands, and it feels like I'm walking with mommy, and it's embarrassing. It's like, again, like, I like the concept in my head, but when it's applied in reality, it was so bad that I was like, okay, I'm never dating a tall woman again. So what I did is, like, coming up for a compromise, and my wife is almost as tall as I am. She's a little bit shorter, but that's the best. That's the sweet spot. I'm going for the single parent status. Yeah, I really don't like I have an aversion towards shorter girls. I don't know why. Like, in all of my classes at university, most of the girls I were with were tiny. It's just like, I guess, the luck of the draw. Um, but like, there was one that was, like, so freaking tiny. Like she was almost just a little bit higher than my belly button. And she was at university in the same class with me. And her boyfriend was, like, even taller than I was. It was like, how the fuck are they even, like, Jesus. Like, he could literally pick her up and put her on his shoulders. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, and apparently, like, the boyfriend, which was a friend of mine, would constantly complain. It's like, dude, I can't get a moment's rest. It's like, why? Well, whenever she's in the kitchen, like, if I move a chair, she freaks out. It's like, why? Because the chair was there, so she can't reach something. And it's like, everywhere I go in the house, there's chairs everywhere, and there's, like, stools, and it's like, I can barely move around. Like, I need to be careful, because, like, if it's the dark, and I try to navigate to the bathroom, I hit myself in something. And oh, I see. Well, yeah, like, the thing is, like, she wasn't suffering from dwarfism. Like, she wasn't like Tyrion Lannister. Like, her proportions and the way she looked was fine. It's just that she was very short. It's not that they scare me, but, dude, trust me, like, if you go out with Lady Dimitrescu, and she's holding hands with you, and people just look at you weird, like she's your mommy or something, you start to feel uncomfortable. You start to feel a little bit socially awkward. Yeah, she had chairs everywhere. It's like, if she wanted to reach, like, there was a chair next to the fridge. There was a chair next to the wardrobe. There was a chair next to the intercom. She had chairs in the entire house. My sister is 5'4", and her boyfriend is like 6'8". Yeah, dude, like, I generally don't get it. And it's like, look, if you're that small, like, why can't you find a smaller guy as well? Like, it will look weird. Well, it wasn't like chair to reach the fridge. It was chair to reach the tallest part of the fridge, Like if she wanted to get on top of the fridge as well, because they would have like various jars of cookies and stuff on the fridge. Like if you wanted to reach those, and also like when you open the fridge, there's like the first compartment, the one on top. If you want to reach deep into it, especially like if there's something heavy, you don't just want to hold it above your head and risk dropping it. Why is there a chair outside the front door? Jesus. I would show you a picture of her, but like, yeah, I don't have permission, so it's maybe if I blur her face, can I do that? Because I have a picture from the graduation ceremony, and you guys can see just how tiny she is. But yeah, I could never date someone like that. But I did date other girls that were taller than her, but still short, and it's not fun. I didn't enjoy it. Tall men love short, combative women, but there's nothing to hug. Like you want to feel, someone else when you're hugging them. You want to feel the flesh. There's no flesh there. No. Short Latinas are like Chihuahua. Do you think like that's an explanation why Chihuahuas are always angry? Like, does the size actually affect a person's behavior? Is this why Tyrion Lannister is so aggressive towards his fans? Every single time Tyrion Lannister says something, it's something negative about the fandom and the people that gave him money. I don't understand why, though. I don't get it. But, like, I'm willing to bet the next time he comes out in public with an interview or something, he's going to be bitter. He's going to say something nasty about the fans. I guarantee you. All bark. Dude, a lot of women like to get men into trouble. Like, holy shit. I'm watching, like, a lot of videos on X now that the platform is more free, and you get to see a lot of fights breaking out, like two men fighting. And almost every single time that there's a woman there, she manages to successfully get her boyfriend hospitalized. Did you notice that? So, like, there's two men fighting, and there's a woman screaming and bouncing around, and she's trying to pull her boyfriend away. And as the boyfriend looks towards her, he gets, like, punched square in the face and just knocks out cold. And I'm like, okay, so, like, in a street fight, having a girlfriend is minus advantage. Like, you should have that rule in D&D. If your romantic interest is next to you, you just get, like, minus... You get, like, disadvantage to all the dice rolls. But like, seriously, do women, like, not understand that a fight is dangerous? And if it's dangerous, you should allow the person to concentrate? Like, if the person is driving and there's something coming down the road, would you distract him? Or just let him do his stuff? Like... No, seriously, like, you see it, I saw it in real life as well. So, like, you have two dudes fighting, and they're focused, like, they're in the zone, and the girlfriend comes out and tugs one of them away, and the guy looks towards her, and just as he looks towards her, he gets punched, knocked out cold. It's like, woman, what are you doing? Distract the other guy. Like, if you're going to cast misdirection, at least cast it on the other guy. Jesus. And then there's, like, the thing that actually did happen to me several times. And by the way, I genuinely think that women respect you if you stand up to this type of shit. It's kind of like, when you go to prison or when you go to the military or when you go into an environment where there's a lot of men, they will test you. They want to see if you're a punk and if you take it. So basically what will happen is, like, you're going to have a guy that comes up to you and does something unreasonable. Either disrespects you by stealing something or insults you or, like... I don't even know if they're thinking about it. It's kind of like something that's subconscious happening. Like you have a person that goes up to you and then disrespects you. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to throw hands. Now, it doesn't matter if you win or lose. Simply the fact that you're willing to stand up for yourself carries a long way. And you will see that usually in environments like prison or high school, people do not respect those that do not stand for themselves. So when you get shit tested, you need to check that, dude. You need to make sure that, well, depending on the level of disrespect provided, obviously. But if it's like something major, you need to check that, dude. Right? Like, imagine if it's a black guy and someone calls him the N-word. Right? Like is he just going to look at the ground, or is he going to react? Like, what is his friends going to say if he doesn't react? It's just like street culture, basically. But this is how guys react among other guys, right? How do women react with guys? And the answer is, I think that women do the same shit tests. Like, they will do something that's incredibly unreasonable, and they want to see that you're standing up for yourself. Like, they want to see that you are not going to back down. So, like, one of the things that women did to me, which was incredibly unreasonable, was that when I was walking home, I was having this very dangerous neighborhood. I was living in a neighborhood with people from all walks of life, let's put it like this. And some of the ladies that I knew they were trash talking the, how should I put it so that it's according to YouTube's TOS? The citizens of low ill repute from that neighborhood. You know, like you see like 4 or 5 dudes sitting on a corner, and they would shit talk, and they would say to her like, oh, nice ass, or something like that. And she would respond back to them. And at one point, I just told one of the ladies, it's like, look, if they attack us, do you have anyone to call? Like, do you have a brother that can get here right away with 5 of his friends? Do you have a couple of pay piggies that are willing to show up? And she's like, no, I got you. And I'm like, yes, you got me, but I'm 1 and they're 5. And I think they also have friends, so I'm not Van Damme. Like, if you want to date Van Damme, go date Van Damme. I can handle 1. I can probably handle 2. You know, if it's 3, I can at least willing to try. I'll probably get beaten up, but I'm willing to try if it's 3. But those were 5. Those are 5. And I'm pretty sure that, again, yes, they do have other friends. They can summon more, and you cannot. So if you keep doing that shit again, if you keep trash talking them, well, I'm going to leave, and you're going to have to continue the conversation by yourself, and hopefully you can take them, because I can't. And what ended up happening is that, well, she actually did gain respect. Again, like if it's something that's completely unreasonable, right? Like if it's just one wimp that comes up and smacks your wife's tushy, and you don't stand up for her, then yeah, like she's going to get upset. But if it's a situation like that, and you explain it reasonably, like you like an adult would explain to a child, then she might actually respect you more. And if she doesn't, then, well, it's probably a girlfriend that's trying to get you killed, and you should date someone else regardless. No, I couldn't handle 4. No, I don't think the cops would care either. Not to mention, I live in that area. Like, okay, you summon the cops, and the cops come in, and they take them down to the police station, and they give a statement. But what happens tomorrow? And summon the cops for what? You know, they haven't done anything, and by the time they do something, it's not like you can press a button and the police is Batman and they manifest themselves. See, if I was in America and I had a gun, maybe I would have thought differently. But even then, if I was in America, I think they would have had guns as well, so. Real talk, chat. How many 5-year-olds could you take in a fight? I remember, like, this was on 9gag questions from back in the day. I think, like, an infinite number. I don't think, like... I don't know, like, if they're swarming you, it depends. Like, are they rabid? Like, are we talking, like, zombies? and they have like no concern for their safety, and they just attack, and are they willing to bite? Because then, you know, there may be a number. But if, like, we're talking about actual 5-year-olds that have the ability to somewhat think and they have a self of sense preservation, then I think the answer is unlimited. I can take an entire sea of them, no problem. I wouldn't take on a child. I'm not a YouTuber. Oh, you're not Dr. Disrespect. Fun part. Apparently, Dr. Disrespect was playing video games and every single member of his team dropped out. And I was like, if this is becoming a meme, it's going to be impossible for him to play games online now. Napoleon was attacked by a horde of rabbits once. He fled. Well, bees can also scare people if they have high enough numbers. Yeah, 9gag is actually up. What's weird about 9gag is that it didn't go woke. Like, I mean, maybe it has since I checked, but last time I looked, it actually made fun of woke people. Yeah, 9gag is still up, apparently. And it's kind of like TikTok. Like, it's got, like, these small clips. Holy shit, 9gag was TikTok before TikTok. Yeah, so what do I find in on 9gag? Like, here's the first video that's trending. Just so you know the type of website that it has become. Humor, 9 hours. An Islamic immigrant beating police cop in London. I think you imported a very wrong group of immigrants, Europe. 6.8 thousand like, 2,000 comments. Literally the first post that I see. And I'm not logged in. I don't have an account. There's no algorithm serving me this shit. Then I see a picture of a lady by the name of Christy Wren. My god, like this website is like traveling back into the past. I do not know who Christy Wren is, but I need to go to my wife and ask her to keep me safe because it's dangerous out there. Very dangerous. I'm actively dying of cancer. My brother took this picture. My days are near an end. I fear my friends. Yeah, I don't know why people trash talk this website. But from what I see, it's literally like Reddit used to be back in the day before the mental illness happened. Is everything fake? What, on 9gag? It's not fake, it's just... It's just memes.
Back. A sword and a dagger. So you're walking through the wood. It's dark, it's at
Hold
night.
on, let me see if I can take this one and open it from the beginning.
Sure.
All right, you've got a bow strapped to your back, a sword and a dagger, right? So you're walking through the woods. It's dark, it's at night. Almost no moonlight is coming through. You hear a crack off in the distance. Something large stepped on a branch. What would you do?
First thing, how far away is the crack?
Give me a perception check. So then you roll dice and we'd see how perceptive you are. Let's say you roll a 13, okay? And you're pretty perceptive, so you have a +3 to that. That's 16. So I know, okay, 16, that's pretty perceptive. You think it's about 20 feet away.
Okay. I think I pick out my bow.
Yeah, well, you're readied. You're
Yeah.
aimed. Slowly creeping towards you, suddenly into view, a little bit of eye shine in the darkness. You see an owl bear. This is a 10, 15 foot tall monster. It looks like an owl, but it has the body of a bear. It opens its beak and squawks at you. What do you do?
Have I ever met an owlbear?
We can do a history check. So this is D&D. You're playing D&D.
I mean a history check.
So history. You want to play D&D?
I'm sorry to say this, chat, but this is the first fucking time I see actors talking about a game, and it's not cringe. Like this is fucking awesome. Yeah, this is kind of how you would get a person to get into D&D, like someone that never played, doesn't know what it is, maybe finds it cringe. If you explain it like that, I think they would be interested. Compulsive jump cuts? Well, yeah, but like, if you make a short, it's gotta be less than 1 minute, so you gotta do the jump cuts in order to add the content that's relevant. Yeah, they're not shilling. It genuinely feels as if there's two people having a normal conversation. Like, if I was to go with my buddies and we're having a pint, and there's these two individuals that are talking with each other, and one of them tries to explain D&D to another, that's how it would go. Like, that is exactly how the conversation would go, and probably everyone at the table would be looking at them because she was actually very interesting. Like, the way she was explaining it, the way she was pointing it, was very intriguing. And unfortunately, you know, like, if you look at a commercial that would probably be paid by the Wizards of the Coast, it would look incredibly cringe and fake. Anyway, I need to go update my channels, so I'll upload the videos on my primary and secondary channels, and hopefully I'll see you guys there. Take care.